We are going to be comparing NFC North teams by position, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at the wide receiver position. It's pretty much just a very simple concept. Basically, we're going to be looking at each team in NFC North, taking a look at a specific position and ranking them 1 to 4. So the first being the best, 4 being the worst in the division. So we're going to start off here with the wide receiver positional group. Why? No idea. I decided to do wide receivers because it sounded kind of cool. So we're going to start off with the wide receiver positional group. If you guys want to see more of this with the other positions, make sure you let me know in the comments below and we can kind of make this like a little series. Before I get into the video, I would like to say make sure you click the top link in the description. Go to my shop, get a shirt. I just ordered mine today, so make sure you guys get yours. Join the squad as, you know, the resurgence of DoseOfDion 2.0. And let's get right into the video. Okay, so coming in at our number 4 position, the team with the worst wide receivers in the division, coming in at number 4, we have the Chicago Bears. And the Chicago Bears, offensively, they're not like super good. They're not like stacked with star power. Now, we'll get into the other positions later. I don't want to go into those right now. But we start off with the wide receiver position. And the Bears are kind of shaky at the wide receiver position. They really don't have a clear number 1. They have guys that have been inconsistent. They have some solid wide receivers here. But they don't have like a guy that you think of. Like when you think of the Bears, there's not a wide receiver that comes to your head. Like you don't, like with the Falcons, you think of Julio Jones right away. When you think of the Bears, you don't think of really anybody. You may think of their rookies, but you really don't think of anybody. So I'm listing their top 4 wide receivers here for all the teams, and some of these teams I have like multiple guys listed. So for the Bears, I have Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson II, and Riley Ridley. Riley Ridley is the rookie, and he's actually going to have a big role in 2019. Expect him to get a lot of yards for the Bears, and he could somehow emerge himself to that number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in his rookie season. That is how weak really this wide receiver class is. It really didn't live up to a lot of his potential, but they're expecting a lot from Riley Ridley, and he may give that to him. Now, the Bears didn't have tons of picks in the draft. They had to wait a while for a pick, and they brought in Riley Ridley, which I thought was a very good move. They really filled a need there. They got one of the best wide receivers that looked like in the draft. Now, I think there was other guys that they could have went with. I would have rather took Hakeem Butler if I was the Bears with my first pick in the draft, but they went Riley Ridley, and I don't think there's a problem with that. Riley Ridley will add to this questionable wide receiver group. It's not like it's the worst in the NFL. It's just not that great compared to the rest of the NFC North. So coming in at number 4, we have the Chicago Bears. Next up at number 3, we have the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers, you could potentially put them at number 4 and put the Bears at 3. It's really all on how you guys feel about this, but I'm putting the Packers at 3 here, really because they have a guy named Davante Adams, who is a really, really good wide receiver, one of the best in the NFL. He's definitely Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy at this point. But one thing that the Packers did not do is really address that wide receiver position, especially through the draft where they didn't draft one single wide receiver. Now, we'll get into tight ends and stuff like that, and they did draft a tight end, so that was good. But just looking at wide receivers, they didn't really address that position, and that was a position of need for sure. So Davante Adams is obviously their best. And after that, who is the second wide receiver? That's the biggest question with the Packers. They have some depth. We just really don't know who that second is. So I have Geronimo Allison in the mix. I have Jamon Moore, who is, another wide receiver that's, kind of here and there. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. And I have Marquez Valdez. Now, all 4 of these wide receivers, because I'm only going to list 4, they are okay. Like, they're not like super standout players. So we're not really sure who's going to go into that number 2 wide receiver position. But at this point, we just know that there's a lot of depth there. And Aaron Rodgers being a really good quarterback, he'll find his way around with all these wide receivers. So they should be fine there. Davante Adams obviously is the big dog. And then after that, there's a lot of question marks. So we'll see how that position works out. In my opinion, they should have definitely took at least 1 wide receiver in the draft. But again, they didn't do that. They didn't address that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I would be kind of upset if I was Aaron Rodgers, but it is what it is. Packers coming in at number 3. Next up at number 2, and this is a big one because this is the deciding factor because we have 2 teams left, as are the Vikings and the Lions. So who comes in at number 1 here? And, I think this one can go either way, and you can call me biased here, but you got to hear me out. At number 2, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Now you may be like, wait a minute. No, that should be the Lions, right? But no, listen to this. Let me hear me out, okay? Hear me out a little bit. This is just my reasoning, and you could definitely switch these. So for the Vikings, obviously Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are 1 and 2. Adam Thielen is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's really proven that in the last couple of years. He's been outstanding. Like, this guy's been breaking records. He's been great. I don't really like him because he's on the Vikings, but he's been great, so I'll just have to say that. But then after the top 2, it's kind of shaky once again. Okay, now you could make that argument for the Lions, but let's get into it. Laquan Treadwell has been kind of I wouldn't say a bust, but he really hasn't lived up to the potential of where he was drafted at. Then you have other guys that are kind of just mixed in there. Jordan Taylor, we don't know what he's going to do. We got Dylan Mitchell trying to make some time. We really don't know who the wide receivers are really after the top 2. You would think Laquan Treadwell, that's who comes to your head, but he's been kind of shaky over the last couple of years. Now, you guys can call me whatever you want for this, but I'm putting the Detroit Lions at number 1 here, with our top 2 being Marvin Jones Jr. and Kenny Golladay. I think the Vikings maybe have a better top 2, but I think Kenny Golladay is more on Adam Thielen's level. They're not the same type of player, but he's closer to that level. Kenny Golladay is going to be outstanding in 2019, just like he was in 2018. Then we have Marvin Jones Jr. Stephon Diggs is good. They're both really good, so I think that kind of makes up for that. And then we have Danny Amendola. We know pretty much who our third receiver can be. Bring in Danny Amendola, a veteran wide receiver. He's not going to give you crazy yards, but you know what you're going to get. And he could potentially move down that list because we have a lot of young guys. So I think for us, we're more certain on who our wide receivers are going to be at this point because we have Danny Amendola, but then we also have multiple guys, right? Are you ready for this? We have Brandon Powell. We have Andy Jones, both fighting at it, trying to get some position signs to get some playing time, and they're both capable. They've both shown they are capable of playing. And then we have a new guy who's Travis Fulgham out of Old Dominion, who I am super hyped for. If you guys don't know that, you probably haven't been paying really good attention to my videos because I'm really hyped for Travis Fulgham. I expect him to be great. Maybe not this season, but down the line. Overall, we just have a lot of depth at that wide receiver position. There's going to be a lot of guys that can't make that team, unfortunately. But the reason I really do give the Lions a nod here is because after the top 2, we are pretty solid. Like, we have enough depth where we're going to get some good production. For the Vikings, after the top 2, I don't know how great of production you're going to get. Here are my top 4. Coming in number 4, we have the Bears. At number 3, Packers. Number 2, Vikings. And number 1, Lions. Lions and Vikings, you could switch. There's definitely some debate here, and I want to hear your guys' debates in the comments below. If you guys want to see more of these where I do like running back, quarterback, we can do all the positions. Make sure you let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you get yourself a shirt, man. I'm telling you, I ordered it today, and I really want you guys to get a shirt because I think you'll really like them. At least check out the design. At least do that for me. So that's the top link in the description. Thank you, Brett, for watching, and I'm out.